everybody. I'm Quinn.
And I'm Scott, and it's time for the Almost Friday show for July 18th, 2012.
And off the press this week, San Diego Comic-Con is now wrapped up, so now we have the stuff that actually happened as opposed to the pre-stuff that we did last week.
That happened before it actually happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a big event.
It's so big. It's like the Olympics. They actually do some of it before because they couldn't fit it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't just make it longer.
Yeah, see, I couldn't figure that out the other day either.
Yeah.
They're like, well, this pre-event. I'm like, what? Why
No,
not?
but then they'd make it bigger, and then there'd still be pre-events, and it would just get exponentially larger.
They're just
year by
cutting
year.
it off.
Now San Diego Comic-Con runs for 6 months out of the year.
Then everyone could go.
Yes.
Tech Insight, we're talking about Shell's interesting day of social media.
It's true.
Which had
very,
nothing-
very interesting
Yes,
day.
which we'll find out had very little to do with the company itself.
It's true. In science this week, we're talking about an FDA-approved drug that can help, I guess, prevent
Yes.
HIV.
Not
which,
a cure,
which
but
is
a
which
step.
is big steps in science.
Yes. Then we're going behind the lens. We're talking about Panasonic made quite a few announcements this week. A couple new
true.
cameras and other stuff to go along with that. So stay tuned for that.
But without further ado, it's time for Off the Press.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Off the Press for this week. San Diego Comic-Con happened, and we
Yay.
weren't there to see it.
No. But luckily it wasn't super exciting.
That's true, because
Yeah.
pretty much going into Comic-Con, you knew all the things that were going to go down,
Yeah.
all the movies that they were going to talk about,
Mhm.
and now that it's over, but it hasn't been long enough for us to get the footage and trailers of all
Yeah.
the cool stuff that they talked about.
So basically the really big news for me is the Marvel stuff, because I'm a big, huge Marvel comic superhero nerd. Captain America 2 has confirmed that's going to be called Captain America 2 Winter Soldier.
She basically called that the second she stepped out of the theater
Yeah.
from Captain America, the first one.
It's true. Someone's like, oh, Bucky's really good. I'm like, Winter Soldier guy. Come on now.
Whatever.
And proceeded to say that,
Several
since
times.
then. Multiple times.
It got tiresome.
I'm sorry.
That's alright.
Something else that will get tiresome for you guys. I'm really sorry. Guardians of the Galaxy is official now. So basically, they released the title card for it and a concept picture, which got rid of the Russian cosmonaut dog.
Marvel's got a little bit of a swagger going on now.
Yeah, they're like,
Avengers
we're
has gone and
awesome.
done real well. They're like, we can just whatever we feel like, guys. Any movie we
Yeah.
want. I don't know how well this movie's gonna do,
No,
considering its relative obscurity. But
Nobody knows about them. It got canceled. Well, the most recent series got canceled after 25 books. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of these characters are kind of going around doing their own thing, but Marvel Cosmic, it's not even a B title. It's kind of like a C, almost like a C minus title.
yeah.
No,
But the neat
nobody
thing
knows
about
it.
the good thing about pulling things out of relative obscurity is
Yeah.
that they can do whatever they want with it,
Yeah.
and only a very tiny amount of people will get
Dozens of us will complain.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of hundreds or whatever.
Yep.
Apparently, the Hobbit panel had 12 minutes of the movie in it, and Elijah
Nice.
Wood showed up out of nowhere. Wouldn't have that been cool if we had been there?
Yeah.
The Legend of Korra panel was also good and filled with people who didn't know it was a show that existed.
Oh.
But everybody who didn't know it existed now wants to go watch it.
Yay! Okay, that's cool.
We also learned that Robert Downey Jr. is definitively Tony Stark.
Yep. He is just rich and crazy. A little
Yep.
bit of an asshole.
Also, there was a Firefly panel, which was basically just an hour of crying.
Yeah. We
I
love
lo-
you.
We love you too!
Oh my god, we love you more.
But we're never gonna get more Firefly, guys.
Yeah.
It's just never gonna happen.
It's gonna be turned into a documentary though, made for TV.
To just continue to wag in front of us the fact that Firefly was an amazing
But
thing.
the good thing is, you don't have to see shaky Comic-Con cam of it.
That's true.
Professionally, tripods and stuff.
High definition pining
Yes.
instead
And
of
probably,
low, shaky definition pining.
And probably behind the scenes stuff. Pretty cool. Interviews, all that stuff.
Misha Collins also tweeted a picture of 3 people dressed as Castiel, and they noticed him after the fact and proceeded to chase him
Oh.
for 3 blocks.
So I was like, hey.
He's like, these people haven't figured out who I am
Yeah.
yet.
Oh my god, aren't you? Wait. Hey, come back here.
Yeah, pretty much. He
Okay,
started
cool.
running, and that's the only reason they chased him.
That's something out of a cartoon.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And oh man, did you see the Deadpool versus Comic-Con videos?
Hilarious.
Best part as far as we're concerned.
Also, Deadpool video game.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The trailer was like everything I wanted from a movie.
It's Yeah, it's basically the Deadpool movie that I want.
Yep.
You know, him being a smartass, shooting stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm just not gonna play it.
No. I'll watch other people play it.
Yeah, totally.
and
That's
watch the
exactly what I
cutscenes.
will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'll get
So
all my
Quinn-
thought bubbles.
Quinn, you are buying this movie. Or buying this video game to play, and I will watch.
As a movie.
Yes.
Simultaneous to San Diego Comic-Con, for those of us who couldn't go, ran ComfyCon,
Woo.
which was effectively a bunch of webcomic artists who wanted to go to San Diego or didn't want to go to San Diego, and for various reasons ended up not going, and ran various panels so they could hang out together
Yeah.
on Google Hangout
So
effectively.
webcomic artists talking to you from their couch.
Which was actually an extremely fun and informative
And very
series of
successful,
videos.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one wore any pants. That was fun. You were
Yeah.
allowed to wear pajama pants. Pajama pants
Yes.
were allowed because they're comfy.
ComfyCon.
Yep. So if you want to look up any of those, because they're actually full of a series of good advice, just type in ComfyCon into YouTube. Do not let it autocorrect you to ComfyCone. That is a pet accessory.
That's hilarious and adorable.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man. So on to things that, we actually have access to because
Yay.
the internet, Japanese Pokemon trailer.
Yeah.
Again.
Another one, this time featuring the girl character.
Woohoo.
Battling, I believe, Charon was his name.
I don't know, the
You're-
guy who had glasses
you're
and
really
no longer
douchey
has
rival.
glasses. Yeah.
You fought him far too often. black
And he was
white.
like, I want to be the best.
But he didn't really match anything except for the first gym. Normal
Yeah.
gym. What the hell? You got 2 Pokemon, guy. You can do better than that.
Yeah, pretty.
Yeah.
But it looks better than some of the movies that have come out.
It looks way better than the current anime.
Way
better. I think it's because they have an episode worth of budget
Oh
for
yeah,
like 7
it's
minutes
true.
of video. So,
Maybe it'll get subtitles and then we'll know what happened.
there are fan subs out already.
Oh, good.
Like within an hour of it coming out.
Yeah.
Someone on
That doesn't
YouTube just
surprise me.
posted the transcript in English. And it's decent translation,
there
It's
you go.
probably the top voted comment. Yeah.
Absolutely. So on this week's new releases, Batman comes out. I care. She doesn't.
It's exciting.
Boo.
I support you guys. Good on you.
Thanks, man. Love you too. Lockout came out on DVD.
Woo.
It's entertaining. It's like somebody made a movie in the 80s. I threw it in the vault, and it came out last year.
I'm gonna obtain it from my friends from the internet.
Yeah, definitely get it for your friends on the internet, unless you want to see it. This might be a Blu-ray rent because of the special effects.
It's true.
Awesome.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Apparently no.
Friends from the internet, get a HD version.
Woo! 80s action.
Yeah, 80s corniness.
Woo!
Current special effects, almost. Except for one notable scene. But we won't talk about that scene.
And that's it for Off the Press.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. We're starting off with some social media news. Now, a lot of companies have decided that the internet should decide things for them, and it almost always backfires. So when the internet got word that Shell was doing an ad campaign where you could come up with your own slogans from images that they provided, everyone took it as something very real because this kind of stupid idea happens all the time. And then it all went wrong when a bunch of the images came back with really terrible slogans like these ice caps aren't going to melt themselves and a variety of things to that nature.
Essentially, yeah, it was for their Arctic drilling project, which isn't really a project.
Yeah.
And they're all like, polar bears being shown, like it's okay, we don't have to live, and things like that. And some of them are actually relatively clever.
Yes, it's true. There's a cute little picture of a fox, and it says, because your SUV won't run on cute. And so what was interesting is that they realized that everyone was making these bad slogans, and then they were trying to clean it up. And so the social media team for this account was trying to stop people from retweeting and making slanderous posts, and then said that people were going to get involved legally, and then all this kind of stuff. And the thing is that it all seemed rather ridiculous, but it all seemed rather plausible because we've seen terrible Twitter PR handling exactly in this regard. And it wasn't until about later today on Wednesday that it became obvious that this was not a real thing. But it took quite a while for it to happen because this stuff happens all the time.
Well, see, to be honest, the signs were all there, but if you didn't sit down and look at it all, there's no way you could have put it together, right? If
Yeah.
you're just looking at the things like, yeah, user-generated ads, of course they're going to be flaming the company.
'Cause,
those
you
are
know,
the only people that do these things,
Most
right?
people don't like oil companies in general.
Well, even if you were, I have nothing against oil companies, but if I saw that, I'd be like, no, make your own ads.
Yeah.
Right? People like us are not going to be those people. The trolls are going to be the people all over make your own ads for us type things, right? So you're like, yeah, that's funny. They'll just throw them all out. But the Twitter really gave it away later when it started
Yes.
getting like, I liked the, don't retweet this. And then like everything got retweeted like 800 times immediately.
Yeah, so it really started to go sort of downhill, shall we say, when everyone started retweeting, and then it became obvious that it was a joke when there were sort of 3 tweets that really summed it up, where he said, okay, you've got 5 minutes to delete your tweets because I'm going to go talk to legal. And then he comes back from legal, and he says, I just printed off 157 pages. I killed a lot of trees, but it was worth it. And then the third tweet, which really put the nail in the coffin that this was fake, was, I went to go talk to the legal team, but they're out on some sort of yacht trip that I wasn't invited to, but you're all in trouble tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, all right, this is now a joke. But it was actually, in this sort of broken way, really cleverly done, because we've seen this actually happen
See,
with real PR.
Whoever, well, we know now it was Greenpeace who kind
Yes.
of orchestrated this whole thing. This was brilliantly orchestrated.
Yeah.
Because the site, it's still up. It's arcticready.com, and the site looks almost like it would be a Shell site.
Yeah.
It's got, the Shell logo, but it doesn't have the branding, so you can.
But it's got a lot of the right color schemes, and
It's got a link to
it's a
Shell.com.
professional-looking site too.
Yeah, and then the Twitter had the thing, and it looked like a reasonable Twitter handle and
Yeah.
stuff. So it all started out very well, and then I think they purposely kind of revealed it.
Well, I think they derailed it intentionally halfway through the day because otherwise a lot of people would have thought this was real, and that was probably not necessarily the direction they wanted it to go by the end of the day. But there's a couple different opinions on this. One, it's interesting that we were all kind of duped into believing that Shell was legitimately doing this for at least a better part of today. But it's also kind of bad that Greenpeace decided to basically pretend to be Shell to get attention, because that's sort of a bad way of doing things.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Greenpeace 90% because of their methods, and this is a perfect example of why I can't support what Greenpeace does, is because, a lot of their ideologies are good, we do need to protect the environment and stuff, but this is a terrible way to go about it.
Yeah.
Because that would be like, if I've done something bad, I'm going to pretend, you pretend to be me to out it or something. Like that's,
Yeah.
Shell has made a statement saying they're not taking any legal action, which is good because they could flame Greenpeace to the ground for this.
Yeah.
I mean, horrible defamation and all this kind of things. But
Well, I think this is one of those scenarios where the people who think that Greenpeace was in the right probably would have believed Greenpeace was in the right regardless.
oh, absolutely.
And
yes.
everyone else goes, this was clever, but that's a pot shot.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of, because it did get even web experienced people kind of going, yeah, this looks like maybe it's legit.
It's real, yeah.
Halfway through the day, I'm like, it's not a Shell domain. It wasn't like shell.com/ArcticReady, which every company would do because you always use your domain.
Yeah.
That got me my first suspicion, but it was generally very well.
If you did some poking, it was obvious, but on the whole, it tricked a lot of
Oh, yeah.
people, even including myself, because I just very quickly read some of the ads and read the Twitter feed and said, okay, this seems legit. Because the big thing is that McDonald's has gotten caught up in this kind of stuff.
huge.
And, large companies with Twitter accounts and a bad idea of how social media advertising should work get caught up in this stuff all the time, and so it was completely plausible to believe that Shell really screwed the pooch on
Although
this.
we can give points to Greenpeace for using social media in a way that got their own point across, as opposed to getting backfired horribly.
Yes.
Now, mind you, they had to not reveal who they were and what their point was, but still, they played the game, as it were, very well.
Yeah. So moving on to some Microsoft news. A release date is now out for Windows 8.
Yep.
Yay!
October 26th. That's for full versions and upgrades. So that's the big release date, which is good because, Mountain Lion comes out in I don't know when.
Like a week-ish.
It has by the end of July, but we don't know when.
I think the tentative date is the 25th.
Yes, but they haven't announced it yet. So, Microsoft's got something in the line. So if you've been holding your breath for Windows 8, it's officially the 26th. A little bit more Windows news. I don't want to go too much into this because I know a lot of people aren't super interested in it, but it's been a slow week. So Microsoft had this big event to unveil Office 2013, and the big deal for Office 2013 was they've revamped all the applications in a big way, so they're all touch enabled now, and it looked to be for most of it a very reasonable way. They've gotten away with that ribbon is optional. So when you open a Microsoft Office program in 2013, the ribbon's gone.
Okay.
So you only open it when you want it, which is very different because I love the ribbon, but a lot of people loathe it. Mostly the people who had gotten used to previous versions of Office and moved to it. Things like PowerPoint looked really nice. It kind of took, I think, some stuff out of what Apple's been doing on the iPad with Keynote, but made it in a full-fledged kind of software environment. So PowerPoint looks really good. Word has some cool like full-page reading, editing features that look nice. Basically, they were saying, look, these tablets are going to be useful for people, for students doing all this kind of stuff, for professionals doing all this kind of stuff. So was the big push.
Now, I know I had read on Twitter that a couple people were really hoping, and it didn't happen, that they were going to kind of do what Apple was doing and break down the parts of Office to individual applications as well, because not everyone needs Excel or PowerPoint.
What they've done there is completely trumped Apple.
Okay.
If you buy a Windows RT tablet, you get Office.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
No charge. It comes with Excel, OneNote. OneNote looks really cool. It's their note-taking integration app. It actually looks kind of useful in a tablet environment. So you get Excel, OneNote, Word, and PowerPoint on every RT tablet.
But if you're using it on a desktop environment, you do still have to buy the whole suite, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no big difference there. At least that they've announced yet. The difference is they're really pushing their Office 365 now, which is like their online thing, and there you can choose to use only one or the other app, but you have to pay a fee. Yeah, I don't see them breaking it down by individual because Excel would be $100. It doesn't really work for the costing, but if you buy a Windows tablet, you automatically get it, which is a key. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that's going to be a strong push for
Yes.
Windows tablets to be like, oh, and it's Office ready.
Yeah, and the next couple cool things that they really were integration things. So Microsoft Link has never really been pushed around outside a business environment, but it's built into Office 2013 for the consumer. So you can have video chat and work on a document collaboratively.
Okay.
Built right into Office. So you start up your Skype video chat or your Link video chat. Skype's baked in as well.
So kind of a much better version of iWork.com that Apple tried to launch a couple years ago.
Yeah, because it's not web-based. It's built right into the actual thing. And you can, let's say you and I are giving a presentation, but you're already at the meeting and I'm at home. We can bring up the PowerPoint, go through it side by side, circle things, change colors, and we can all have full access to it. So that looked really cool. And they're also pushing Office use on the huge screens because they bought that company that makes like the 80-inch multi-touch screens or whatever. So Office, that's where they did the demo for the PowerPoint thing. So you've got all your video chats up on the top, and it actually looked really useful.
Sweet.
So hopefully some good integration features there. So at least the most visually appealing version of Office yet, and free when you get an RT tablet. If you buy the full Windows 8 tablet that's got the i5 and stuff like that, you probably will have to pay for it.
Which is kind of funny because you're probably paying more for that tablet.
Oh, you are for sure.
So
they haven't announced that yet though, because it's being sold a different version of Windows 8. So maybe they'll roll it in because Microsoft is selling you the tablet.
And then we can hope maybe at some point in time they'll release a better version or a finally compatible version for Mac.
The Office 2011 is very good.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be releasing a patch for that this week to allow you to save directly to SkyDrive.
Oh, sweet.
Even without the SkyDrive app. So it'll be baked right into Office, which is kind of cool. So I don't know if we're going to see this kind of stuff drift over to Mac. I would imagine not. Last but not least, some iOS news to round it out since we had a Microsoft feature. Except it's not really good for Apple.
No, it's sort of Google news, and that's that Chrome's share of iOS web traffic is up to 1.5%, which is a pretty strong number considering Chrome has only been out for a couple weeks now.
Couple weeks, yeah, and it's already probably larger than, I don't know. There's not that many other browsers, right?
Yes.
I guess other browsers take about 15% of the market, 13%. 13% of the market.
Collectively.
Yeah. Now, I think the big barrier here is, and the reason I haven't used Chrome, on a non-jailbroken device, you can't change your default browser.
It's true.
And about half the time I open Safari, it's opening via clicking something in an email or something like that.
Yeah, if you are jailbroken, there's a really great little, I think it's like a a $1 install from Cydia that will allow you to change your default browser so that anything that you click on that would open Safari will now do something else, which is really handy. But if you aren't jailbroken, different options for like a mail program or Safari or whatever makes it very hard to use, because anything that the phone does integration wise, which there's a lot of it, isn't going to work.
You know what we need? We need the EU to get on this shit, because they gave Microsoft hell for years for having IE by default installed.
Yeah.
And when you install in the browser in Windows, it can take over default functions. So it was even a not as bad a case.
For sure.
EU, Parliament, get on this. Start suing Apple for no reason. Microsoft hated it. It's Apple's turn. I want that feature.
For sure. And that brings us to the end of Tech Insight for this week.
It's kind of alive!
Nah, it's still dead.
Oh.
Hey everyone, welcome to Science. Starting it off with some drug news.
Yeah, so FDA has actually approved, and it's a big one. Details are thick. Very, very dense.
Oh boy.
So check the show notes. You're gonna, if you're very interested, the Popular Science link that we have in there actually links to the FDA site. They have found a preventative drug for HIV. Now, it's not 100%. It ain't 90. 75% for people who have low risk of being infected. So this isn't a cure for HIV, but it offers a certain amount of protection. If you are, they were saying that if you're a high-risk individual, you take this every single day, and that would help you either not have the infection take hold, or it would actually just completely prevent you from getting it from anyone or your partner who may or may not have it.
Yeah.
They didn't say too much about it, other than the fact that this is the first one. It has been in trials apparently since 2004, or was something like this was also getting into testing in 2004. So now it's actually past human trials. This is almost getting to the point of being distributed. This is this is amazing news.
Yeah.
Really is what it comes down to. So because it is the first one, it has a very, very hefty price tag.
Almost $14,000 a year.
Yes, and that's for a year's worth of pills. So that's expensive as all hell.
$14,000 if you're taking it every day.
Every day.
Okay.
So of course it obviously would change depending on your prescription. But they're still saying, of course, this is a preventative measure, just like condoms, just like birth control, just like all of that. You have to use it in conjunction with other things if you want to be 100%. So if you don't want to get infected, if you think you have a risk of it, if you have the money, take this this new drug and still use condoms, still use the whole shebang, and you'll be closer to almost. You wouldn't be 100%, but you'll be close to 100% protected. So very interesting news coming right out of the FDA. Like I said, check the show notes if you want to actually read that paper if you're interested in drugs and pharmacology, because you'll probably understand it better than I do. That is dense enough in that few paragraphs.
Very dense. Very short, but very dense.
You could nail things in with it. Like, it's a hammer.
Yeah.
And that's just on a screen. Last year, NASA.
December of 2010.
Yeah, and I wore the wrong shirt for this again.
Damn it,
NASA, or NASA scientists, felt that they found an alien that is different from normal life on the planet. Cell. Creature
it lives
thing.
in arsenic.
Yeah, it was a very highly arsenic lake. Can't speak today. There we go, Mono Lake in California. High levels of arsenic. They found cells and other small microbes that actually had arsenic in place of phosphorus in their DNA or in their biological makeup.
So what's going on with these guys now?
Basically, there was a whole lot of it was a huge debacle.
It was at first it was like, we found these.
And
Awesome.
then
And then it's kind of but whoa, wait, guys. We're just going to distribute our findings and let other people have a look at it.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
There was very little documentation. They jumped the gun on it.
Yeah.
The scientific community descended upon them.
I believe a week or two after it came out, they're like, okay, relax.
Yeah,
We're
relax.
still
We have to
looking
look at
into
it.
this."
Yeah. Because they didn't sterilize anything.
Yeah.
They grabbed it, looked at it, and that was it. So, basically, it's come down to it. No mas. Sorry. It ain't arsenic based.
It's just a crazy extreme.
It's just a very extreme thing because what these things were able to do was replace most of the phosphorus in their makeup with the arsenic and adapt. That is still good news. That's big. That's really interesting. But they aren't fully arsenic based. So sorry guys, there's still more testing. There's still going to be more experimentation because they want to verify it even more. But they're pretty sure because there was still phosphorus in the organism. The thinking next step is try and figure out what this organism really is.
Yeah. Then
put it into this environment and see what happens.
Sweet.
See if it replaces it. See how the generations of it go.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be getting another follow-up in another year.
Yeah, he's give it like another year and a half.
But for the most part, right now, it ain't looking good. But as is the science.
It's cool and it's very extreme. So.
Absolutely, and it's a neat concept that there's something out there that can actually change its absolute makeup based on that environment. Cool. So that's really cool. Now, something that's a little bit more cooling and appropriate for the weather that we've been having.
Yes.
And that's not just here in Canada and Canada. It seems to be everywhere. It's hot. It's really hot.
And dry.
And very dry.
Very dry.
So what we could use is some rain.
Yep.
However, there's only a few places that are getting it. And when they're getting it, they're getting it hard. Flood. Whereas everywhere, like it is, everywhere else is dry as a bone. So they figured out a new way of doing a form of cloud seeding.
Yeah, so this is cloud seeding with lasers instead of with, I believe they use silver.
Yeah, they use silver particles, I believe. So. And so the whole idea is the lasers are able to rend molecules apart.
Yeah.
And basically allow...
Cause other molecules to bind with.
Yeah, sorry. So photons break down, just quoting here, photons break down to compounds in the air, which produces ozone and nitrogen oxides. This causes nitric acid particles to form. And apparently they bind to water very well.
Apparently, though, these water particles are smaller than what is considered a raindrop.
Yeah, so the whole idea is that you'd shoot this into the cloud, and you'd probably get more rain.
Yeah.
Not so much shoot it into the sky and expect a cloud to form. But, as you mentioned earlier, the best part of it, on and off switch.
Yeah, it's not like before where they're basically just shooting a cloud into the air. And then waiting.
Yeah, waiting, and then sitting there and going, "Oh crap!
Oh no, wind! No, we wanted it over. Oh.
Yeah, we've screwed up the weather for other people now. Oh.
It's like, oh, hey neighbor city, how's that thunderstorm going? Yeah.
Sorry,
buddy.
we knocked out your power grid. Sorry about that. Hey.
But now this is basically you flick on the switch, fire the laser, and.
And Viola, you might have rain. There's still more testing.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's looking pretty good for it. And not to mention, now we can shoot lasers in the sky. Actually get something out of it.
Lasers are cool.
Lasers. But that wraps it up for science this week. So that's actually really cool.
Yep.
FDA-approved drugs, new life that isn't quite new, and lasers.
Lasers.
Now we need to attach all of that to that organism, and then we have a super organism.
Amoeba lasers?
Yes.
Hey everybody, welcome behind the lens for this week. It's been a Panasonic kind of week.
It's true.
In the camera world, they announced 3 new cameras and a new lens.
Well, they actually announced a handful of point and shoots, but I'm only touching on 2 of them because these 2 have important features about them. But sort of the big news was the announcement of the G5, which is the replacement for the G3, which is sort of their mid-range mirrorless camera. It's not up to the same level as the GH2 and arguably the GH3 that is probably coming in September at Photokina. But they have changed a couple things about it, which I think shows some good progress, and I like it. First off, they've made the grip much more substantial, while still keeping the camera relatively thin. It's just the grip that sticks out. They're kind of taking a page out of Sony's book, because the NEX5 has this nice nub to grab onto, and so they've really sort of mimicked that while keeping the rest of the body very thin, so the camera itself doesn't take up a lot of space. They've also finally upped the resolution on the LCD screens. Panasonic has always had a lot of flack for having like 460 or 640,000 dot LCD screens, which are antiquated at this point. So we finally have a 920,000 dot screen, which is still not as good as other things out there, but substantially better than everything they had thus far, which makes me happy. And they've improved the touch controls and how it's responding and all that kind of stuff. It's using a tweaked version of the 16 megapixel sensor that was in the G3. Early testing suggests that it's very similar in performance to the G3, but it is showing a little more dynamic range at the lower end. What I'm really excited about is the 1080 60p video that this camera is doing, because that means that the GH3 is going to have it 100%, which is pretty cool. I'm glad to see that they've moved to 1080 60p. And I think that this camera really is a more substantial choice as a mid-range camera if you were looking at Panasonic's lineup, because the G3 was a good camera, but it had some faults. The G3 did not have an auto-switching viewfinder, like when you move the camera up to your eye, which they've brought back on this guy, which I think is essential to a properly operating viewfinder. And the grip was kind of small, and it didn't have any progressive frame rates for video and stuff like that. So I think this is a solid move, and I think it's a good choice if you're looking for a mid-range camera. We'll hopefully get one in the studio to review when they become available. Yeah. So along with the G5, they announced another zoom lens. That would make like 4 or 5 zoom lenses they've done now.
Can't get enough.
Yeah. So they started with the 45 to 200 way back ago, and then they had the 45 to 175, which we talked about, which had the power zoom feature on it. Yes. And now they have the 40 to 150. And so my prediction is the next lens is going to be the 40 to the 45 to 125, and then after that maybe the 45 to 100, and then the 45 to 75, and then it'll just be the 45, which they already have, so they'll just round it all out.
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous.
So the reason for this 45 to 150 is that it is smaller than the other two zooms in terms of physical size. Well, okay, which I get, because with mirrorless, if the lenses are really big, it kind of defeats the purpose. But there's also like, frig guys, stop making telephoto lenses and make one of the other lenses you haven't made that we all want.
That everyone's waiting for, yes.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's not that much smaller than the 45 to 175. It's probably lighter because it doesn't have the power zoom.
Yeah, and it is nanocrystal coated, so I'm glad to see that they're starting to put that on all their lenses, because that does improve contrast and reduce flare, so it's a good thing to have. And It's something that you don't typically find on lenses until you get into expensive Canon and Nikon lenses. So I'm glad to see that they're going, hey, this is like a cheap lens and nanocrystal coating. But I'm so tired of Panasonic and Olympus being like, and here's a new revision of our telephoto lens, and here's another new revision of our telephoto lens, and oh, what's that? Another telephoto. Like, oh my god. By the time this camera hits like 6 or 7 years in production, there's going to be like 8 telephoto lenses that all essentially do the same thing, and it's just going to be stupid. So, I don't really know what to say. I guess, like if the 45 to 175 was just too big for you, well, here's a solution.
You're good to go.
If not, then...
Or wait for the 45 to 125.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be big.
Which will release. No, it'll be small.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Clever.
So that's the new lens from Panasonic in that regards. Now we're going to talk about a couple of point and shoots. I want to touch on 2 of them because they both have some pretty cool sort of firsts in digital camera world. And the first one up is the LX7. Now, the LX line has always been very popular because they're small and they've got really great Leica glass on them, and people like them because they're typically very wide-angle lenses as well. So this guy is following very much in the same path as the previous LXs, where it is a short zoom lens, and it has a good wide angle. But what they've done on this guy is it starts at f1.4, which is the brightest we have seen on a point and shoot to date, which is really awesome. And what's cool is that even though it's at a 3.8 times zoom, when you zoom all the way in,
still f2.3,
f2.3, which is still brighter than we've seen on any camera thus far with a zoom. So really excited about that. They've moved from a CCD sensor to a MOS sensor, which is going to improve low light capability. So you pair that MOS sensor with the f1.4, you're going to get some really decent low light results. And because the MOS sensors allow for faster frame rates, it now shoots at 10 frames per second, which is really cool as well. And to jump in with the rest of the cameras we talked about, 1080 60p, which I love that all of these cameras are coming with that feature, because it shoots great video when you can shoot 1080 60p.
Yeah.
And you get that 920,000 dot LCD screen. And you also get a slightly bigger adapter port on the back of the camera, so you can now use the high-resolution viewfinder that they shipped like a year ago or so. So if you were holding out on a sort of performance point and shoot, and you still want something that's relatively small but speed is what you need. I mean, in terms of light, the LX7 looks like a great option. It is a 1/1.7 size sensor, so it's in the same league as like the S95 and the S100. It's a little bit smaller sensor than the LX5 was, but they had to do that in order to get the aperture.
Yes.
And I think ultimately the much brighter lens is going to make up for the slightly smaller sensor. So I think it's a pretty cool camera. But the camera I am most excited about that they announced is the FZ200. This guy is a 24 times optical zoom, which in today's day and age is kind of mid-range for zoom.
Yes.
Because we've got like 36 and 40 times optical zoom out of like the Canons and the Nikons.
There's the ongoing optical zoom weapons race.
Yes. But what is really awesome about this camera is that at 24 times optical zoom, which is a 25 millimeter to 600 millimeter equivalent, it is f2.8 all the way through. f2.8 at 600 millimeters.
Yeah.
You know how much that costs on a big camera? It's thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I mean, obviously the image quality is not going to be the same as putting a multiple $1,000 lens on your Nikon or Canon. But it is so awesome to see a 24 times optical zoom with a fixed f2.8 throughout. And that's really going to make this a strong choice for someone looking for a super zoom camera.
Absolutely.
Again, we've gone to a MOS sensor on this guy, so it is supporting that higher frames per second. It'll shoot 12 frames per second. It does 1080 60p, which is cool, but on top of that, it'll do 720p at 120 frames per second. Which can,
that's cool.
Which can give you some really awesome slow motion effects, because you turn that guy down to like 30 frames per second, which is average television. You're going to slow it down by 4 times, which is really cool. But on top of that, they've added the 1.3 million dot viewfinder that you can find in the G5 and the GH2, which is, in our opinion, a very nice viewfinder.
Yeah.
And you can shoot RAW with this guy. So we've got f2.8 at 24 times optical zoom, 1080 60p, 12 frames per second, and RAW. I mean, this guy is a powerhouse in terms of just that all-in-one camera. You're not really sacrificing for light. You're getting great video. You're getting good viewing options, and you've got RAW, so lots of post-production options.
I think all in all, I like the direction Panasonic's going here. We're seeing bright lenses.
Yep.
Right in their point and shoots, which is that stands out alone. I mean, compared to a lot of other ones.
Absolutely.
You got that set 60p video, which is a big change. You got the better, finally, high-res LCD screens.
Yep.
All good things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this lineup is probably one of the most solid updates I've seen, where everything seems to be.
We're actually getting new cameras.
Everything really seems to be a good, solid upgrade to what the previous models were offering, and it makes me excited for Photokina, because I think we're definitely going to see this continuation of good LCD screens, good video, good bright lenses, with some new higher end products that Panasonic will be announcing.
Good things for people like us who've been patiently waiting for a GH3.
Exactly. I want my 1080 60p with manual control so I can slow down dogs running in the park. That's what it's about.
See, that just made it sound so much less exciting.
I know. But if you slow motion on YouTube, it's dogs running in the park.
It's true.
And people getting hit in the face with stuff.
Or junk.
Or junk, yeah. But anyway, strong selection of Panasonic cameras. In terms of when they'll be available in the stores, no specific date, but usually it'll probably be like within a month or two. You'll see them on the shelf. Panasonic's slow to get things out. But if you were thinking of buying a performance point and shoot or a super zoom, wait, because these are two great options.
Worth the wait.
I would highly recommend checking out before you go and put money into something.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of Behind the Lens for this week. And that brings us to the end of the show this week. As per usual, if you'd like to get a hold of us, you can reach us on the Twitters at @almost_Friday.
Or, of course, if 140 characters is enough, you can send us an email at contact@almostfridayshow.com.
We're also on the Book of Faces. You can search us, or you can go to facebook.com/thealmostfridayshow.
Yes, we'll show up in your feeds if you like our page, so you don't even have to go looking for the new episodes.
It's true. And we want to give a shout out to Randy, who's apparently our super fan.
Yes.
And this is like a test to see if he watches the entire show.
If he's really the super fan, because if he doesn't get to the shout out, I don't think it's really fair.
It's true.
That super fandom should be reserved for someone else.
We'll make you a t-shirt, but only if you independently mention to us that you saw this part of the video.
Yes, I like that.
It's like a test. It's a super fan test. Randy comes up and goes, "Oh, thanks for the shout out." We go, "Here's a shirt."
You're going to have to make it ahead of time? You'll be ready.
I'll make it.
No, we'll have a team that shows up and air cannons the shirt at him. All right, guys, it's good.
Sean's been looking for a reason to use that air cannon.
Woo! Thanks for watching, guys.